Guys, I just literally filmed this whole video for like 40 minutes and I didn't turn on my microphone. It's okay. I'ma stay happy. I'ma stay happy. Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're gonna be doing a good old coffee talk, only today I'm drinking water. I've already had this discussion with you guys, although you don't know this yet, but I've drank 3 coffees today and I switched over to water because if I drink one more coffee, I'm gonna be very jittery. So if you do wanna make yourself a cup of coffee though, feel free and get comfortable, take a seat and join me because today we're talking about how to be happy. So this will be my second time going through this little formula that I've created, not only for myself, but I wanted to share it with you guys in terms of finding ways to feel happy, because I think that it's not only really important, but I also think that it's one of those things that, I know that this is a very broad and general topic for us to be talking about today, but realistically, when it boils down to it, all of the things that we need to be happy are already sitting within us. And I don't think that happiness is somewhere we need to get to. I think it's almost like a way of getting there, or a means of mindset while we're on our way to the lives that we want to live. So really quick, if you guys want to hang out with me for a little while longer, I'm gonna give you guys a 5-step process in terms of reevaluating your life and your perspective on happiness and basically building a formula for yourself to feel more happy. So tip number 1 is to mind your blessings. Now, I know that I talk a lot about meditation and I'm not telling you guys that you have to meditate. That said, the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine actually did a study that showed that meditating alleviates a lot of the symptoms that come from things like anxiety and depression, much like the way a prescription drug would. Now, I am not a doctor and I'm only speaking from personal experience, so please consult your doctor if you are taking any kind of antidepressants or anti-anxieties. Like, that is not my business at all, and my opinion is only coming from my own source of basic life experience. But I myself also struggle from anxiety, and I would say I more so used to struggle from depression. My depression has not visited me, thank God, knock on wood, in a very long time, but it is something that I definitely struggled with a lot throughout high school and after high school. I was also on an antidepressant and anti-anxiety for about a year in my life, and then I decided that I wanted to basically seek out more natural ways of coping because I felt like I had it in me. I felt like I could do it if I could just find the right formula of life that would work for me, that would help elevate me to a happier sense of overall, I guess, contentment. Anxiety is still something that I would say I deal with more so on a day-to-day basis. It's something that I'm still learning to cope with. I'm always learning to cope with, and I'm always trying to create some grace and some space for in my life and make it my friend rather than my enemy. But it's still something that I think I'm learning more and more about every day. And every time that I do learn more about it, I'm able to share what I'm learning and connect more with all of you guys out there that also struggle from the same. So just know that when I say that, I'm not telling you that you shouldn't be on an anti-anxiety or antidepressant pill, and that is not what this video is going to be about at all. This is more so just finding simple little ways to feel better on a day-to-day basis. And one of them is counting your blessings. Now, the reason why I said meditate or meditation or started it with that is because that's when I normally count my blessings. When I take the time to sit without any distractions and I just go to a place inside my mind, I kind of count my breaths a little bit, and then once I get there, I'll start thinking about all of the amazing things, because my brain is so quick, as we all are, to look for all of the problems in my life and to look for all of the things that could go wrong or are going wrong or might go wrong. And it's not as easy to constantly be as aware of all of the things that are going right, all of the things that I wished for at one point in my life and now are here. And I think that I use meditation in particular to count my blessings, but you could do this in a planner, you could do this in a journal, regardless of how you do it. When you train your brain to start pointing out more of the positive things around you, it becomes a lot easier to do that on a daily basis. And you also have to get creative with it, because once you start naming off the main things, like, you know, the house over your head, or the food on your plate, or the water that you have to drink, or the body, or the whatever you're watching this on right now, or your dog, you have to start getting more creative. Like Bentley, for example. I used to always be like, oh, I'm thankful for Bentley. But then I started challenging myself to not use the same things every single time I was counting my blessings. So then certain days it became, I am thankful for the walk that I took today with Bentley, or I am thankful for the cuddle session I just had with Bentley, or I am thankful for Bentley's health. I'm thankful for Bentley's ears because they're so freaking cute. Look at these little ears. Or big ears. I stand corrected. He's so tired, he was literally just napping. You're like, Mom, can you leave me alone? No, I can't. Never. You're my biggest blessing. He normally doesn't like when I'm filming videos because I get very theatrical with my hands and I talk really loud, and he doesn't like that because he gets very confused as to who I'm talking to. There he goes. Count your blessings, train your brain to start seeing more of the positive things in your life, and stop basically trying to ask yourself to stop seeing so much of the negative, because it's just who we are as humans, you know? Back in the day when we were in survival mode, we were meant to pick out things that could be a potential threat to us. So telling yourself not to think of negative things is not going to be productive because our brains are naturally made that way. We're naturally prone to pick out negative things because those are threats, and anything that could be a threat to us in our caveman days meant death. Although now that we've evolutionized, those things don't mean death anymore. It just means, you know, feeling low and feeling crappy throughout the day. So just train your brain to pick out more good things instead of trying to tell yourself to stop being so negative. Tip number 2 is to move your body. I know that this one is very redundant as well, but let me just tell you, even just going for a walk outside, that movement actually helps release endorphins that are meant for making us happy. You know, dopamine and serotonin. Those are things that get released when we are moving. We are meant to move. Our bodies are mobile for a reason. I don't know why I feel so weird. Honestly, I think this is the second time filming this, so I'm just like rolling with it. I hope you don't mind. Even if it's just for 20 minutes a day, and you can get creative with this, whether you are walking your dog or you go for a run, you could do some yoga, you could do a class, you could do a club or a sport, I don't know, whatever tickles your fancy. But if you can get moving on a daily basis, then it gets you out of your thinking mode and it gets you into your movement mode, and it puts you back into the present moment. It puts you back into your body, which is not only a very powerful feeling, but it also, again, stops us from that mind train of thinking about all the things that might not be feeling so good in our lives. Dance around in your room for 20 minutes to your favorite new songs, or stretch while you're watching a movie. Just anything that makes you feel like you're moving and you're taking up the space that you deserve on this planet. For me, I know that movement, most specifically like yoga and running, are two things that really help me. Like, I'm burning away the anxiety that I tend to feel more so on a day-to-day basis. So when I feel really, really off or really weird or really low or really just like worried or fearful or stressed out, if I go and I move my body, whether I'm doing low impact moving like stretching or fast like running, either way I feel like I'm either pushing or flowing the anxiety and the bad vibes away, or I'm literally burning them off, like running out that excess energy, especially when I feel anxious. And doing so not only makes me feel good because I'm moving, but it's the fresh air, it's the breathing, it's just even feeling competent after going for a workout or doing a yoga stretch and learning a new move or beating my fastest run. These are all things that play into a bigger sense of joy and fulfillment. Not to mention, working out and moving your body on a daily basis is going to also exert that extra energy that we do have that tends to want to find something to put it to, and thus is going to help us sleep better. It's going to help us feel more, you know, accomplished, like we're using not only just our minds but our bodies and our souls as well. And at the end of the day, it's just going to make us all around happier. Tip number 3 is to surround yourself with happiness. Now I know, again, redundant, but let me tell you, a lot of the main tips are redundant because I wanted to make it very easy to follow, but what we're going to say about it is a little different than you might think. I'm not just saying surround yourself with happy people. I'm talking about the atmosphere that you're in, what you spend the most amount of your time and your energy on. All of these things play into how happy we are at the end of the day. Now, really quick, I do want to make a disclaimer that I don't think how happy we are should ever rely or be the responsibility or fault of anybody else, or anything else for that matter. I just also believe that what you surround yourself with is a direct reflection of who you are going to be or who you are in this moment. And so when you look around your space, look around your bedroom, look around the place that you spend the most of your time in, look around at the people you spend the most of your time with, look around at the people that you see the most when you're scrolling on your phone. Are these things and these people things that make you walk away with a sense of excitement or inspiration, or even just a sense of like peace with yourself? Or do you walk away and do you feel drained, or do you feel low, or do you feel uninspired or unsupported? Because these are things that will eventually, especially if you're surrounding yourself with these things on a daily basis, start feeding into your overall mood in just general terms. Ask yourself if your main priorities are in alignment with a lot of the people that you spend time with. Ask yourself if your atmosphere is something that makes you feel like it's yours, or something that makes you feel like it's not allowed to be yours, you know? Like, I remember back in the day when I was living in my parents' house and I just wanted my room to be my room. That was always like one of those things that I had ever since I was young. I was always changing around my room. I was always trying to add things to my room, put stickers on the wall, just anything, no matter how stupid it looked, just made it feel like it was mine, made it feel like I was allowed to take up that space and it was allowed to be something that brought me happiness. And I was really lucky to have parents that would allow me to do that. I think that once I got older too, I obviously got better at picking out things that weren't just random stickers on the walls. But one thing that I will say is super important to me is my atmosphere has to be something that I feel resonates with who I am and brings me a sense of like peace and calm and content and also inspiration. Another thing is to become acutely aware of how you feel when you walk away from the people you spend the most time with, because I'm not saying too that you need to just like cut anybody out of your life, but I think that even when it boils down to the people that we're following online and the people that we talk to online, you don't have to necessarily find new people physically, because I get a lot of that in terms of whenever I do any kind of Q&As, it's always like, how do I meet new friends? How do I make new friends? And that is definitely a topic we can do for another time. But even if you feel like you're finding it very difficult to find people that you mesh or gel well with and people that make you feel supported and happy, there is a whole community online that is waiting for you. Like, if you think about it, I know that social media gets a lot of negative attention, but there's a lot of positivity that comes from social media too. For instance, you would not be sitting here and we would not be hanging out right now if it weren't for the fact that we are like-minded individuals, and so thus we have connected and we're sitting here talking about how to be happy. And I'm gonna walk away from filming this video a much happier person, and I can only hope and pray that you will walk away from this video also feeling like a much happier person. Ask yourself who you spend time with, and that includes who you spend time with on your phone, whether we're talking directly or not, whether you're texting them or you're just scrolling past their photos. Just become acutely aware of what you are inviting into your life by surrounding yourself with it, because that is going to feed your overall mood. And also, ask yourself what you're spending the most of your time on. Even if you're working a job that you don't necessarily love, odds are it is a stepping stone to something that you're working towards that is like your main big goal. So if you have an intention that brings you happiness, even if the action isn't something that brings you happiness, then you can still get a sense of enjoyment and fulfillment out of doing things that you don't necessarily love doing. I know that when I was working my first few jobs, when I was like 15, 16, 17, I didn't necessarily love those jobs, but I knew that those jobs were giving me money. I knew that those jobs were also getting me out of my house. One job in particular, when I worked at an old age home, I was like a server, and there was a cook there who I really gelled well with, and I just found her very inspiring, and I could talk to her about a lot of things. And around that time in my life, I was getting like pretty heavily bullied at school, and I would go there after school, and I just remember feeling like it was like a little safe haven, a little place that I could go and I could just do mindless work, and I could talk to Jess, who was like the cook at the time, about all the stuff that was going on at school, and she would just give me such good advice, and it just became this thing that I knew wasn't going to be my big dream job, but it definitely brought me a sense of happiness in the sense that it was paying me, it was getting me out of my house, and it was getting me out of my head. Ultimately, you're just going to want to make sure that all of the things that you're spending time and energy on, you might not be able to get to exactly what you want to be spending your time and energy on today, but if you can align it with your priorities, your goals, and your dreams, then everything that you are spending time and energy on should be feeding into your overall sense of happiness. If that job is a stepping stone to your dream job, if this place you're living is a stepping stone to the place you want to be, all of those things are in alignment with where you're going and where you want to be, so thus you have to almost relax into it and enjoy it now. And doing so might also tell you if it's not in alignment, because if it's not, then you've got some changes to do, you know? Number 4 is to get back to your roots. By that I mean we are mammals. We are not meant to be in like zoo villages piled on top of one another, surrounded by structures and steel and concrete. We are meant to be outside in the sun and with nature and in fresh air, and even at nighttime we're meant to, like, our bodies are so accustomed to sunlight, we're so accustomed to the air, the water, the earth outside, and those are things that we're also made out of. Like, everything on this planet, everything in this universe, it's all made out of the same thing. So when you think about it, well, I guess that actually kind of contradicts what I just said about buildings. But when you think about it, we are just as much an animal as this little sleeping creature that you cannot see but is being very adorable right now. But we're meant to eat good, healthy, natural foods. We're meant to drink water. And I know that soda and coffees and takeout food and processed foods, like those are very much enjoyments in life, and they are things that can bring you like a sense of happiness, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying cut those things out. I'm just saying that the way that we treat our bodies and the way that we show up within ourselves as human beings, not just as who we are as individuals, but realistically just as a human being, just as a mammal on this earth, is also a big part of how happy we feel, because we are naturally made the way that we are for a reason. We're naturally made to soak up sunlight. We're naturally made to drink water. We're naturally made to eat whole foods. We're naturally made to be outside. And so the more that you do those things, the more that you're giving your body a sense of happiness, which is going to give your mind more of a sense of peace. The way that I like to look at like physical body image and things like that is that our bodies are basically the veil between who we are on the inside and what we're experiencing on the outside. So when your body feels good and when you feel good about your body and the way that you're treating it, then you are at a much higher advantage of feeling good inside your body. So take care of your body and realize that when you boil it down to just like taking all the complications away, it's pretty simple. It's just back to the basics of what it means to be a human being. And last but not least, tip number 5 is to love yourself. And I know, again, that this is one of the most redundant tips you've probably ever heard when it comes to just being happy in general. But I'm not saying like, oh, just love yourself, like love all your flaws, whatever. Sometimes loving yourself is going to be knowing that you need to change some flaws, or sometimes loving yourself means that you need to accept that you've made a mistake and own up to it. Sometimes loving yourself is staying in on a Friday night in sweatpants, and sometimes loving yourself is going out with all your friends and dancing the night away. Loving yourself is just basically, at least to me anyway, is staying true to who you are. And I think that that's one of the hardest things for us to do in today's day and age, because everybody is trying to tell us who we are. And the reason why that is because big corporations, big businesses, and anyone that's trying to sell anything is basically trying to make you question who you are so that you buy their product so that you feel more fulfilled or feel like you have a better sense of who you are. But I'm here to tell you that you don't even need this video. You don't need me. You don't need anything else out there. Everything you need is already within you. You already know who you are. It's just we've gotten so used to listening to what everybody else is screaming at us that we start to doubt ourselves. I know for me, I've gone through ebbs and flows in my life where I've definitely felt happy and I've definitely felt unhappy. And I know that when I'm going through my phases of feeling so happy, it's normally when I just feel like I'm so in my own skin. Like I just know who I am and I'm confident in that. And I'm expressing myself openly and without fear. And I'm believing in all the things that I'm doing and saying because they're in true alignment with who I am. Everybody goes through these ebbs and flows, but whenever I catch myself going through phases of life where I feel like I'm struggling or I feel like everything's a lot thicker and more complicated and heavy, it's normally stemming from a big, huge sense of self-doubt. And my self-doubt comes from thinking that I'm doing something wrong, thinking that I'm not good enough, thinking that I need this or I need that to feel fulfilled. And that is not just me, that goes for all of us. But it is so crazy to think that we don't need anything. We have everything we need already inside. And I know that that is a really corny sentence you probably have heard somewhere else before too, or on someone's bumper sticker, but when you think about it, when you are in alignment with who you are, when you're living authentically with who you are, that to me is loving yourself. Loving yourself is to shut down all of the things telling you who you should be and just being exactly who you are, as long as you're not a serial killer. The fact is, happiness is not a destination. It is a journey. Again, another bumper sticker, but let me continue. I don't think that it's realistic for us to expect ourselves to feel happy all the time. I don't think that I could feel that sense of authentic joy and happiness all the time, only because I think me living in alignment with my truth is always changing because we're constantly evolving and changing as human beings as well. As I get older, the things that I'm interested in, my truth, my alignment, my sparks of joy are going to shift and change. And that's why this formula, even though it's the bare bones, also is going to shift and change. You don't need to do what I do. You don't need to do what anyone else does. You just need to get quiet enough and listen to what you want to do. Your gut feeling is always directing you, and you know you better than anybody else. And I'm not talking the you that's like the ego you, or like the insecure you, or the mean voice inside your head you. I'm talking you like when you just have a gut feeling, or when you just can tell that a dream is meant for you, or that, you know, something in this world makes you really happy, like authentically, just joyfully glowing happy. Those are things that are meant for you, and those are things you're not going to find by buying the latest this or taking that or drinking your life away, or, you know, getting that short-term gratification of happiness. Those are senses of joy and fulfillment that only come from when we actually listen to ourselves, love ourselves, and take our lives as exactly as they are. When it boils down to it, taking care of yourself is going to be the biggest thing that brings you a sense of happiness. So whether you count your blessings, whether you move your body, whether you get outside and you be a mammal, and whether you know, surround yourself with happiness on a daily basis, and whether you choose to love yourself is all ultimately your decision. And the great thing about that is that means it's all ultimately within your control. So like I mentioned to you guys, that this is basically a general bare bones formula to feeling a more happy mindset on a daily basis. And I actually wrote down my like exampled formula if you guys want to hear mine, and I want to hear yours. So after I tell you guys mine, be sure to comment below your formula, or, you know, make it up as you go and give it a try for a week, and then maybe come back and tell me how it works. So first things first, counting my blessings. After I finish my meditation, kind of like I was telling you guys, I'll pull out my bullet journal and I have a spread in there of my gratitude list, and I'll just fill in at least one thing a day, but sometimes it's more than that, of things that I was counting within my meditation. The second one is to move your body, and for that lately I have been working out Monday to Friday, especially now that I'm back from traveling. I've been right back into my workout routine, and my overall sense of just like stress levels have just like boiled down, and my sense of fulfillment and enjoyment has definitely gone up. And if you guys want an updated fitness routine on my vlog channel, just let me know and I can definitely vlog that for you guys. But that has been my recent way of keeping my body moving every single morning. The third one being surround yourself. I actually just did the biggest gist in my room and just like cleared out post-travel all of the excess just clutter everywhere, and now I'm planning out actually a full gist series for spring cleaning with you guys, again on my vlog channel, but there are going to be some gist videos on here too, so make sure you guys turn on the notification bell so you guys can be aware when those videos go live, because we're going to do a lot of spring cleaning this year. But realistically for me, I know that right now, I feel like a lot of the people around me are very happy and supportive, and I did a social media detox with you guys on a Coffee Talk podcast episode, so last but not least was definitely my Atmo. Don't ever let me say Atmo again. Number 4 is I've been going for nightly walks with Bentley, which has not only been making me feel just like more connected to him, but in terms of just like getting back to my roots, being outside underneath the sky is one of my favorite things in the world, especially at nighttime. There's something about seeing the moon and seeing some stars that just make me feel some type of way, and doing so reminds me of how small I am and how small this whole world is and how big like the whole freaking universe is, and it really puts things into perspective for me. So that's kind of how I get back to my roots. And then last but not least, loving yourself. I have been making myself very scrumptious, delicious meals. I've been challenging myself to cook at home as much as I can Monday to Thursday, and then I like go ham on all the processed and takeout stuff on the weekends. But doing so, I feel very fulfilled after eating a very wholesome meal that I made for myself and just like put that work and effort in. And that like little sense of taking care of myself is something that makes me feel just very aligned with who I am and what I enjoy doing. And so in a way, I feel like that's one of the ways that I like to show that I love myself, you know? I will write out the bare bones part of this into the description box so you guys can just copy and paste it and then leave your answers. And aside from that, I hope you guys enjoyed today's water/coffee talk, and that you hopefully walked away from this feeling a little lighter and a little happier as well. And I will talk to all of you guys in the next Koze channel video. Bye guys.